Did Zach and Tori Roloff just reveal the shocking truth behind their picture-perfect TV life? For years, fans of Little People, Big World have adored this couple. The laughter, the love, the adorable kids, and the heartwarming scenes filmed on their Oregon farm. To many, Zach and Tori were the definition of reality TV goals: authentic, grounded, and happily ever after. But behind the edited episodes and smiling Instagram posts lies a very different story. One filled with emotional strain, sleepless nights, and the unspoken cost of living life under constant public scrutiny. In their most honest and emotional revelation yet, Zach and Tori have peeled back the curtain on what it truly means to build a life in front of millions of viewers. Fame, they admit, isn't always as glamorous as it seems. The cameras that once felt like friends eventually became silent witnesses to private heartbreaks, marital tensions, and the growing pressure to always appear okay. This isn't just a story about television, it's a story about love, family, and survival in the spotlight. Over the next hour, we'll dive deep into Zach and Tori's confessions, exploring how reality TV fame shaped, and sometimes strained, their relationship, their parenting, and their peace of mind. So, what really happens when reality TV collides with real family life? Stay tuned, because the truth the Roloffs just shared might change the way you see fame forever. When Little People, Big World first began airing, Zach and Tori Roloff were simply two people in love, learning to navigate marriage, parenthood, and life under the unique circumstances of dwarfism. But as the years passed, their lives transformed into something far bigger than they ever expected, and not always in ways they could control. Fame at first seemed exciting. Cameras followed them on romantic dates during baby announcements and through heartwarming family milestones. Fans adored their authenticity, the laughter, the love, and the way they showed that family comes first, no matter what. But behind that reality TV glow was a growing tension, one that few could see. Suddenly, privacy became a luxury. Trips to the grocery store or a quiet dinner out often turned into meet-and-greet sessions. Strangers would stop them to ask questions about their kids, their marriage, or even their finances, forgetting that beyond the show they were a real family trying to live real lives. Even at home, Tori once admitted the pressure didn't fade. She described moments where she felt she couldn't relax, that someone somewhere was always watching or judging. Then came social media, both a blessing and a curse. With millions of followers came millions of opinions. Every photo she posted of her children, every caption about her marriage was analyzed and critiqued. Some praised her for her openness, while others questioned her parenting choices or commented on her appearance. Zach, who has always been more private, found it difficult to adjust. He wanted to share enough to make fans happy, but not so much that their family's life felt like public property. The hardest part, though, was raising their kids under constant public attention. Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, each adorable and full of personality, grew up in front of millions. And while fans meant well, Tori often struggled with knowing what to share and what to keep sacred. She once confessed in an emotional post that she worried about her children being defined by the show before they could even define themselves. There were moments when both Zach and Tori wondered if it was all too much. When filming days collided with doctor appointments, or when online rumors spiraled out of control, they questioned whether continuing with Little People, Big World was worth the emotional toll. There were talks, serious ones, about walking away from the cameras altogether. But each time they found themselves pulled back by gratitude. The show gave them incredible opportunities: financial stability, a platform to raise awareness for dwarfism, and a way to connect with people all over the world who felt seen because of their story. Zach often said that fame gave him a chance to educate, while Tori admitted it allowed her to share the beauty of their family, different but not less life. Still, the weight of being public figures never fully lifted. There were days of exhaustion when Tori would post less, or Zach would stay off camera not because of drama, but because they simply needed a break from being Zach and Tori Roloff reality TV stars. They needed time to just be Zach and Tori, husband and wife, mom and dad, figuring things out like everyone else. The price of fame wasn't always visible on the show, but it shaped everything behind the scenes. The constant trade-off between openness and privacy, connection and exhaustion, gratitude and burnout, that's the reality few fans ever see. And as they began to reflect on their years in the spotlight, Zach and Tori both realized something crucial. Fame doesn't just change your schedule or your income. It changes how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. When the cameras stop rolling, the real story often begins. And for Zach and Tori Roloff, what fans never saw behind the scenes of Little People, Big World tells a very different tale from the one that made it to TV. While the show was marketed as a reality glimpse into the Roloffs' everyday life, insiders, and even the Roloffs themselves have admitted that reality TV isn't always as spontaneous as it seems. Many moments were planned, reshot, or gently directed to create the perfect emotional arc. Producers encouraged certain conversations, asked for do-overs when moments didn't land right, and occasionally exaggerated tensions to keep viewers hooked. Zach once hinted in an interview that filming could sometimes feel more like performing than living. He and Tori had to balance being authentic with meeting production expectations, a challenge that became especially tough as their family grew. What might have been a small disagreement between husband and wife could easily turn into a major storyline once the cameras zoomed in, capturing every sigh, every tear, every sideways glance. And while those moments made for compelling television, they came at a cost. The Roloffs often had to repeat emotionally draining scenes, arguments, confessions, or heart-to-heart talks, just to get the right angle or lighting. Imagine having to relive an argument with your spouse multiple times so it could be edited into a clean segment. Over time, that repetition blurred the line between what was real and what was for TV. Filming also intruded on their family time. Simple moments like breakfast or bedtime with the kids became complicated when cameras were present. There were microphones to wear, crew members in the kitchen, and producers asking them to pause a sweet moment and redo it for better coverage. For Zach and Tori, who always said their family came first, the constant filming schedule began to feel like a silent intruder in their home. Then came the emotional aftermath. Watching those edited episodes later was often painful, seeing private struggles turned into public entertainment. Tori has admitted in her own social media posts that it was hard to relive moments of stress or sadness that the world now had opinions on. Sometimes, what fans saw as drama or distance was really just exhaustion, the weight of juggling parenthood, privacy, and public perception. The emotional toll built up over time. Each season required them to open up more, to expose parts of their marriage, their parenting, even their mental health, knowing millions of viewers would dissect every detail. It wasn't easy, and while they were grateful for the opportunities the show brought, the personal cost was undeniable. Behind the cameras, Zach and Tori weren't just TV personalities. They were two people trying to hold on to normalcy in a life that was anything but normal. And the more the cameras captured, the more they began to question whether reality TV was truly reflecting their reality at all. Raising children is never easy, but raising them under the glare of reality TV cameras is a challenge only a few can truly understand. For Zach and Tori Roloff, their journey as parents to Jackson, Lila, and baby Josiah has always been closely tied to their time on Little People, Big World. From their first steps to their first words, the world has watched these little ones grow up before their eyes. But as the cameras rolled, Zach and Tori began to see the price of that exposure, not just for themselves, but for their children. Tori has often spoken candidly about her worries. How much is too much to share? She's admitted that as adorable as the kids' moments are, not every part of their lives should be public. She once wrote that protecting their mental and emotional well-being has become one of her top priorities. Fans might see a cute photo on Instagram or a funny moment on the show, but behind the scenes, Zach and Tori carefully decide what to show and what to keep private. For Zach, the concern runs even deeper. Having grown up in the spotlight himself, he knows the weight of being watched, the criticism, the comparisons, and the constant attention that can feel both flattering and suffocating. He doesn't want Jackson or Lila to feel that same pressure. Zach has said he wants them to have a normal childhood, where they can make mistakes, explore, and learn away from public judgment. And that's why both he and Tori have started to draw clearer boundaries. They've cut back on how often they film, and they've spoken about wanting their kids to grow up outside the TV bubble. At the end of the day, Tori once explained, we're just parents trying to do our best. The cameras come second now, our kids come first. The couple's move to Washington marked a major turning point, not just a change in scenery, but a shift in priorities. Away from the chaos of the Roloff family farm and the TLC spotlight, Zach and Tori have been more intentional about building a quieter, more grounded home life. They still share updates online, but now it's on their terms, moments of joy, laughter, and family adventures that they choose to share, not scenes dictated by a production schedule. It's clear that their decision to step back from filming wasn't easy. The show gave them fame and financial stability, but as parents, they realized that privacy was a gift they couldn't afford to lose. Tori has said she wants Jackson and Lila to look back on their childhood with fondness, not with the weight of being public figures before they were even old enough to understand it. For many fans, this new phase of the Roloff family feels more authentic than ever. While the cameras may no longer follow them as closely, their story continues, one that's less about fame and more about love, family, and protecting what truly matters. The story of the Roloffs has always been more than just television. It's a generational tale of ambition, family bonds, and the painful cost of legacy. But behind the smiling faces and pumpkin patch memories, deep cracks began to form, especially between Zach, his father Matt, and matriarch Amy Roloff. For years, Roloff Farms wasn't just land, it was the heart of the family, a symbol of hard work, resilience, and togetherness. Yet when Matt decided to put parts of the property up for sale, everything changed. What had once been a dream of passing the farm down to the kids became a source of bitterness and heartbreak. Zach, who had hoped to one day take over, suddenly found himself on the outside looking in. He and Tori were shocked, and fans could see the tension play out in real time. The farm dispute wasn't just about land, it was about trust, respect, and what it meant to carry the Roloff legacy forward. Zach felt dismissed, while Matt defended his decision as purely practical. But for Tori, watching it all unfold was painful. She stood by her husband as he struggled between loyalty to his family and his own need for peace. It wasn't easy seeing father and son clash, especially when cameras were there to capture every uncomfortable moment. As the arguments deepened, Zach and Tori began to question whether staying close to the farm and the show was worth the emotional toll. Eventually, they made a difficult decision, to step away to create their own path far from the shadow of family conflict. Moving to Battleground, Washington symbolized more than just a change of scenery, it was their declaration of independence. Away from the cameras and the constant comparisons, Zach and Tori started to redefine what being a Roloff truly meant. They wanted to raise Jackson, Lila, and Josiah in a home where love wasn't measured by fame or property, but by the strength of their bond. Even now, fans can sense that the wounds between Matt, Amy, and Zach haven't completely healed. But in their own quiet way, Zach and Tori have proven that legacy isn't about inheriting land or fame, it's about creating a life filled with authenticity, unity, and love. Their journey stands as both a continuation and a redefinition of the Roloff story, a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing a family can do is start fresh and write their own chapter. When the cameras finally stopped rolling, Zach and Tori Roloff found themselves in unfamiliar territory: silence. For nearly a decade, their lives had unfolded in front of millions of viewers. Every laugh, every argument, every milestone with their children had been captured and shaped into storylines for television. But for the first time in years, they were no longer characters, just Zach and Tori, two parents rediscovering what life feels like when the world isn't watching. At first, it wasn't easy. The absence of producers and production schedules left a strange void. There were no early morning filming calls, no setup shots in their kitchen, and no one asking them to relive emotional conversations. The quiet was both peaceful and unsettling. For Tori especially, stepping back from Little People, Big World was a major emotional shift. She had spent so many years balancing her identity as a mom, a wife, and a reality TV personality that rediscovering who she was outside of that felt both liberating and confusing. But with time, that quiet became healing. The couple began to realize how much of their life had been filtered through the lens of television editing, moments that were exaggerated for drama or cut short before resolution. Away from that pressure, Zach and Tori finally found space to live life on their own terms. They could spend mornings with their kids without worrying about lighting setups. They could have disagreements without fearing they'd become the next big TV fight. And perhaps most importantly, they could protect their children's privacy, something that had weighed heavily on their hearts for years. Out of that newfound peace came Raising Heights, their podcast and family platform that quickly became a fan favorite. Unlike reality TV, Raising Heights wasn't about drama or spectacle, it was about connection. Zach and Tori used it as a safe space to share their unfiltered thoughts on parenting, marriage, and life after fame. Each episode feels like a conversation around the family table, honest, humble, and often filled with laughter. Fans who miss seeing them on screen now get something far more intimate, the real Zach and Tori, unscripted and genuine. The name Raising Heights carries a double meaning. On one hand, it reflects their journey of raising their children, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, and guiding them toward a future full of possibilities. On the other, it's symbolic of personal growth, rising above the noise of fame and learning to find purpose beyond what the cameras capture. For Zach and Tori, Raising Heights became more than just a project. It was a new chapter in their story, one defined by freedom, faith, and authenticity. Through their podcast, the couple often reflects on what fame taught them. They've spoken about how easy it was to lose perspective when every decision was influenced by how it would look on TV. Tori has been candid about her struggles with comparison and the pressure to present a perfect family image. Zach has shared his frustrations with being misunderstood or portrayed differently from who he truly is. But together, they've learned to embrace imperfection, understanding that true connection comes from vulnerability, not perfection. They've also spoken openly about their faith and how it guided them through the toughest moments of public life. For Zach and Tori, faith wasn't something they used as a shield but as an anchor. It reminded them that their worth wasn't defined by ratings, followers, or fan opinions, but by their love for each other and their family. That grounding belief helped them stay humble even when the spotlight was brightest, and helped them heal when it faded. One of the most powerful messages they've shared with fans is about privacy and authenticity. In a world obsessed with oversharing, Zach and Tori have learned to set boundaries, not out of secrecy, but out of love. They want their children to have the gift of a normal childhood, free from constant judgment or exposure. They've become advocates for mindful sharing, encouraging fans to see that it's okay to keep parts of life private. Not every moment needs to be captured. Some memories are more meaningful when they belong only to the people who lived them. Today, life for the Roloffs looks different, slower, quieter, and far more intentional. They spend weekends exploring Oregon's nature, hosting family barbecues, and focusing on the simple joys that fame once overshadowed. Their social media pages, once filled with production updates, now show genuine slices of family life. Jackson's soccer games, Lila's dance recitals, Josiah's toddler giggles. There's no camera crew, just a family savoring the moments that truly matter. Looking back, Zach and Tori often say that walking away from Little People, Big World wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of everything. They learned that life's greatest blessings aren't found in fame, but in freedom. Their story now stands as a quiet but powerful message to fans around the world. That happiness isn't about being seen, it's about being known, loved, and true to yourself. As they continue their journey through Raising Heights and beyond, Zach and Tori Roloff remind everyone who followed their story for years that authenticity is the real legacy. Their time on TV may be over, but their message, about love, resilience, and choosing peace, shines brighter than ever. As the cameras fade and the spotlight dims, Zach and Tori Roloff's story comes full circle, not as reality TV stars, but as a husband and wife, parents, and two people who learned what truly matters. Fame once defined their lives, but today it's their family that defines their purpose. They've lived through the highs of national attention and the lows of online scrutiny. But through it all, one thing has remained constant: their love for each other and their children. Stepping away from Little People, Big World wasn't just a career move, it was an act of protection, a conscious choice to reclaim peace, privacy, and authenticity. Looking back, they're grateful not just for the show that gave them a platform, but for the community of fans who stood by them through every challenge. Every message, every word of encouragement, every shared moment has reminded them that the heart of their journey was never about fame, it was about family. Zach and Tori now live a quieter, more grounded life. Through their podcast Raising Heights and the glimpses they share online, they continue to inspire others to choose love, grace, and truth over the chaos of public life. Their message is clear: life isn't about being perfect on screen, it's about being present off it. And as they close this chapter, they do so with gratitude for the lessons, the memories, and the love that continues to guide them forward. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.